Welcome back. Last week we ran an investigation to Habbo Hotel, the world's biggest social game and online community for teenagers. It's a virtual world where children create avatars and talk to people all over the world. But we found it also to be full of explicit sexual content. Our producer Rachel Seifert played on the game for 2 months and was propositioned to perform sexual acts.
Initially, do you have a webcam? Are you on MSN? Are you on Skype? I was being asked to strip, to get fully naked. What would I do on a webcam? Would I send photos of myself over email?
In the last 6 months, 2 paedophiles have been convicted of getting over 80 children that they met on Habbo to perform sex acts on webcams. We showed our evidence to John Carr, one of the leading experts on children's online safety.
If I was the parent of an 11-year-old girl on a chat room like this, I'd want there to be a moral panic. What I've just seen makes me think this is a dangerous place for youngsters to be.
In response to our report, Sulaki, the company that runs Habbo, muted the site and has since thanked us for a wake-up call to this poorly regulated industry. Well, tonight, Habbo Hotel remains silent, but the children themselves are very far from quiet. Young users have let us know very directly that we've ruined their fun, so we thought we'd invite them to make their case. Earlier, I was joined by 4 Habbos, as they are known. How long have you been on Habbo, Amber?
I've been on Habbo for about 3 to 4 years now, and I played a bit before that, but I didn't really play it compulsively.
And how old are you now?
I'm 18.
18, so a third of your life you've spent on there, nearly.
Yeah.
And what about you, Josie?
I'm playing it since 2007 when I was 11. I know it's past the age limit, but and so that's now 4 years, coming up to 5.
So you're 15?
Yes.
And Emily?
Well, I'm 20 years old and I've been playing it since I was 12, and I've even got the true 100% Habbo badge, XX badge, which is awarded to people who have been playing the site for more than 1,825 days.
Omar?
And I have been playing since 2000, well, I haven't been playing, but I made an account in 2007 and began to play more regularly from 2010.
And how old are you?
And I'm 17 years of age at the moment, so...
Now, I want to read you one tweet here. It's one of the more readable ones. You've just ruined a day for more than 2 million people. How do you feel about that? Why do you think people are so angry?
I think people are angry because it has been the best part of, 10 years that Habbo's been going on, and within a week, Channel 4 have managed to basically tear that down and expose it and basically just take away everyone's place and just tear it down and divide it.
But shouldn't we be blaming the company Sulake for not having a more moderated approach of young people? Shouldn't we be looking at the company that's behind it?
Did you know there was sort of pedo activity on there?
It's very obvious.
Yes.
It's very obvious.
All aware.
All aware.
All aware of it.
Yeah. Everyone who goes on Habbo.
Oh, I would like to add as well is that since I was 30, since I first started using the site, it's been happening on a very large scale.
Do you mind?
I did mind at first, but I obviously carried on using the website, so I got used to it. After a while, you ignore it, get used to it. You shouldn't get used to something like that, but yeah, I got used to it.
From your experience, what sort of proportion of people on Habbo might be pedos?
Well, I couldn't say for certain, but I spend time mostly in the popular rooms, and that's obviously where they would probably go.
Not all of them are pedos as well. A lot of them are children who are the same age as us.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Just exploring their sexual...
The inappropriate users.
Young people being sexualised, I think, is a very big part of this,
Yeah.
and whether it's right to have 2 young people, even of the same age, engaging over an avatar. You know,
but what I can answer your question with is sometimes I would humour them if I had friends over and say, hey, come and have a look at this. If I was to, as a girl I am a girl and obviously on the site, would say, would anybody like to go on cam with me? 20 friend requests at least, 15 to 20 friend requests immediately. But
they might not, as you say, be pedos. They might just be other youngsters trying to sort themselves out.
If I have accepted them many times and they come up on my instant messenger, do you want to have online sex? Do you want to show your...
You can have 11-year-old, this is the thing, you can have 11-year-old children going on and being propagated for sex within the first minute you've been on the site. You know, it's not what you want your children to be around, or it's not what I would want my children to be around.
Many times you get random friend requests as well, just from random people.
Do you feel angry with us for what we've exposed?
I don't feel angry that it's been exposed, but I feel angry as in the way it was exposed. Like, it's obvious there has been a problem for a very long time now, but it was very, it it could have been exposed a long time ago, and it
Well, I
has
think
a
you
lot
are
to
a
be
bit
done.
angry, aren't you?
Yeah, in my first video, of course, like when someone hears something they don't like, of course they're going to be angry to start with until they've heard all the facts. It was just this very negative report showing all these negative ideas, didn't show any of the positives.
Yeah,
Like there are
that's what I
some
had an issue
positives.
with.
Should they be using that as a company to try and attract young children? They know that kids are emotionally attached to this website, and they're using that as a business proposition, and young people put their faith into the site, and they possibly, you know, reveal images to each other or whatever, and that can be later used against them. And do you think that should be happening, or to, you know, with kids? I don't
Well,
think.
look, we've talked to lots of people around the world, and I mean, one of the things everybody says is they get a life in the Habbo Hotel that they don't manage to get in the real world.
Definitely, for me,
And
certainly.
let's hear from Jess.
I feel like the way that the reporters went about getting their information made the report very biased, because it honestly doesn't show any positive aspect of our wonderful community. It's a chance for people who aren't normally very social to be able to socialize with people who accept them and can't judge them based on their appearance or status.
Emily, is it a wonderful community?
When last year I used the site quite a lot, but in the past when I was a lot younger, I was a lot more interactive with it, and it was, and I would say it still is, a very good community because there are
But what are you getting on it, Josie, that you don't get in real life?
For me as a person, when I joined it when I was 11, I was a very self-conscious girl who didn't feel like she was understood by a lot of my friends, not through their fault. It's just I am different to many people in many ways, but I had...
We're all different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I didn't feel like I could communicate with them. Like, I was a very upset person at the time. I had a lot of issues. I couldn't tell them my issues because I felt like no one would understand
Are you a
them.
better person for having been?
Definitely. I've got confidence, you know, I'm happier in myself. I made a best friend who I've met.
A best friend you met in the flesh?
Yeah, I've met I think 5 or 6 people from Habbo in real life.
What about a sexual relationship with anybody?
Well, yeah, I dated someone for 8 months, and that was a challenging 8 months because of the distance rather. But it was
But
also...
you met her physically?
Yeah, I met her in real life. I met her about...
Had a real relationship with
Yeah,
her?
I had a real relationship with her.
Why are kids using Habbo as a dating website? Like adults would use a dating website.
Well, that's the
Why
thing.
are you using
I think I'd
Habbo?
that.
It doesn't naturally happen.
Because it's aimed at younger people. I would say the younger people who don't really know who to speak to about these experiences that they're having about their sexuality go on this website.
I mean, do you think perhaps in a virtual sense you were sexualised before you ever would have been in real
No,
life?
because for me personally, I know it's different with different children who aren't perhaps not as responsible but didn't react in the same way as me. If someone approached me and I didn't feel comfortable, I'd block and delete them. The facilities are there to block and delete people who you don't want to talk to.
It should be prevented before it gets to that point. I've met lots of people through Habbo or whatever else people are doing who have been the victim of giving their pictures to somebody even of the same age as them. It doesn't have to be a pervert necessarily. They've given pictures of themselves and they've used it against them later on to cyberbullying them. And when you're trying to report that to moderators, you just get back a standard response. You can't sum up all of the issues to moderators,
However,
and they should have got to it before it happened.
You've had the response.
I've had a good response.
Emily,
I've been
Emily.
asked.
I've reported many people whilst using the site because I used to have a popular gaming room, and there would be offensive language, offensive behaviour, sexual behaviour happening in my room before my very eyes. All I can do is kick them, I report them, and nothing gets done.
You became physically active sexually after you'd been sexualised on Habbo?
The first time I was ever approached by somebody on Habbo Hotel who had a sexual intent was when I was 13, and this boy said, come to my room, and so I followed him and we were alone in his online room, and he said he was 14, 15 years old, and then he started asking, but up until that point he'd been completely normal, nothing bad, nothing suspicious, and this was the very first time I'd ever experienced anything like this. I wasn't even really sure what sex was at this point, and he said, are you a virgin? And I said yes, and he said, I said I'm only 13, I'm a virgin, and he said, I'm going to take your virginity. I remember it very well because my heart was racing, I was panicking, I didn't know what to do.
But do you think that's the moment at which you started to become interested in sex in the real world?
Because, like I pointed out before, I carried on using the site, obviously, up until now, and at the time, that was the time I ever really went, oh, what's sex?
I just want to bring in Ryan from Northern Ireland because he has an interesting and relevant point.
Let's say that you know, a child is walking down the street and somebody approaches them and says, hey, I want to see your undress, or, you know, something like that. Well, is that right? Well, no, it's not. Of course that's not right. Because moderators are essentially invisible, it just sort of breeds this this sort of thought that kids can basically get away with whatever they want.
Well, that's a really important point, Amber. I mean, somebody goes down a street and asks a child to undress, even if they are themselves. That's crazy. I mean, but that is what happens on Habbo.
You couldn't do it in real life, could you? So why should you be able to do it?
Aren't you worried about that?
I am worried about it, but being on Habbo like
But you're angry with us for exposing it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm glad that you did expose it, because it's now given the moderators a kick up the butt to basically
But they
do
should have
this.
done it a long time ago.
And they should have done it a long time ago, but at the same time, Habbo isn't all that bad, and that's what I think that hasn't
that
been
is the
shown.
point.
Well, this is about the whole of the internet.
Yes.
Do you, in some way, want the internet regulated so that all of this...
There's only so much any website anywhere can do to moderate these things completely. I mean, Habbo has done things
That's
actively.
not true, because the owners can do anything they want. That's the thing, and that's what I get a bit annoyed about when I see Habbo.com. The owners of it, the people who have been on Habbo, they go on Habbo, they know what goes on in Habbo, yet they've only decided to take decisive action.
Well, that's
after
exactly
the news report.
what I felt about all of you, that you've been on for years. Where do we go from here then? And we expose this particular website. You're saying, well, there's lots of places like this on the web, and you can't regulate the web anyway.
It's definitely not
Isn't this stealing your innocence? Isn't this, you know, you're having experiences in the Habbo Hotel, which me at 15, I mean, I can't imagine.
But if you think about the other media children are exposed to, you know, through films, through advertising even, there are many other things in life.
Yeah, but films do have rating. You know what you're going into.
But so
you know
on Habbo
it's going to be either a 15 or a, you know,
on Habbo,
whatever.
you're told when you should go on. You are told, you aren't set, you know, it's
You're
not
given rules and regulations for a reason.
No,
It's
but
up
they
to you.
don't-
But this is
force them
pitched
or-
at 13-year-olds, so that's surely not acceptable.
I mean, the
is it?
four of us are sitting here and we're proof that there are older people using the site. And
I want to ask you a final question, because you must know people who are not on Habbo in real life.
Yeah.
How do you think Habbo sets you apart from them? Do you think you're having experiences which give you something else in life that they haven't got?
Perhaps not for me, certainly. It wasn't to get something they haven't got. It was to gain what they had. Through the confidence I've gained and through the social skills I've gained, I can now talk to people.
Yeah.
How long do you think you'll be before when you stop, or will you live on, have a room in Habbo for the rest of your life?
I would love to answer that question. I'm 20 years old. I've been using it since 13. I'm reaching the point where I go, am I a bit old for using the site when there are young people using it? Because I, as a mother, wouldn't be sure if I would be happy about knowing my 13-year-old child talking to someone who's 20 years old. Even though 20 is not old, I don't want to feel old, but so I'm the one.
Well, I'd just like to thank you all very, very, very much for coming in. Thanks so much. Habbo Hotel, what a great quartet. Tonight's main news, plans by the Education Secretary Michael Gove to scrap GCSEs have sparked a row within the coalition. The Deputy Prime Minister Nick Clegg, who's in Rio for the Earth Summit, said tonight the plans had not been discussed in government and he would oppose anything that led to a return to the old two-tier system of exams.
Weather forecast to follow with Liam Dutton, and you can reach us both on Twitter, of course. Channel 4 News continues online, channel4.com/news.
We're back tomorrow at 7. Until then, from Christian and from me, that's Channel 4 News. Good evening.